Hey, I'm Baby Queen.
Hi, I'm Katie Beza.
Hey, this is Ram McMullen.
Hi guys, Lara here.
Hey, I'm Jim from Koala.
Hi, I'm Astrides.
And you are listening to Léim Thart.
And you're listening to Léim Thart.
And you're listening to Léim Thart.
It's out now.
I really hope you enjoy it.
So enjoy.
Here on Léim Thart, there have been a range of guests on at so many stages of their careers, all the way from first song out in the world, totally new, up to multiple albums. But I think the guest today has probably had the longest impact of fingerprints on the industry with her songs, and comes from Dublin, which I'm just delighted by. Welcome, RuthAnne, to Léim Thart.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So delighted to have you on with a brand new album and a brand new book. And
Yes.
like the headlines are just staggering, which I hope you never get tired of hearing because you're hearing them again now. There are nominations for the Grammy, which I can see behind you there. There's the Brit nomination. There's hundreds of millions of streams as an artist and over 10, 12 billion streams as a songwriter.
Yeah.
And it's great to have an example like that from Ireland, a country where, yes, we're known for like being poets and stuff, but I suppose being a songwriter in the very present era and songs that are, I suppose, very mainstream popular. And I've been aware of you for quite some time because the first time I heard of you as someone who like lives for the song and knowing who the songwriter is and the craft, I remember it flagged in my head about 20 years ago, you were on ice on The Den when I was about 10 years old.
I was.
Playing piano, and they talked about how you won the 2FM songwriting competition.
Yeah. I won that when I was 17. Yeah, how mad. That's a blast from the past. Yeah. I love that you remember that. Yeah, I've been doing it a long time. This is a long time I've been doing it in this industry for a long time.
Because the host then said, oh, and I love that song she wrote, Too Little Too Late, for JoJo, which became your first hit. And I thought, excuse me? So I ran upstairs to get a little compilation CD I had, and I took out the booklet to read the names. And I was like, oh, they weren't lying or telling a joke.
No.
This is real. So ever since that day, I thought, there is someone Irish who writes big songs in the present day.
Yes,
and that's just fantastic.
Thank you. I've been so lucky to have been able to have this career for like 2 decades now. It's like mad to think that, I landed in Hollywood when I was 17 and then, had that big break, that song that really broke up my career. And then I've just like, I guess because the Irish me, I'm like, I've got my foot in the door now. I'm going to just go for it. So but I'm always so proud to be Irish and try fly the flag for Irish, everywhere that I go. I'm always like, I'm Irish, because I want people to know that I'm Irish.
It's great to have that representation, not only on songs like that, but there's so many other names that you've written for. There's Britney, there's John Legend, there's Diana Ross, there's 1D, and I just love being that person in the club that when a song comes on, like, will chew your ear off saying, this person wrote this song. So I think I actually heard Work Bitch for the first time ever on a night out very recently. And I had to say, oh yeah, it was someone from Dublin wrote this.
I love that. I actually love that as well because I've been in so many different scenarios where like I'll be in a cycle, like a workout class, or I'll be on a waiting, when you're on the phone waiting, and one of the songs that I've written, or I'll be in a taxi, and I love when my songs come on in places and people don't know that I've written them, and I'm just looking around seeing everybody sing them, or like anywhere that I am. It's the best feeling to kind of be like, I wrote this and no one has any idea here. And then sometimes my friends will be like, oh my God, your song is on, like my friend wrote this, and people will give a look like they don't believe you. I just love that. I think that's like the best, is kind of that whole, like, people are always taken aback. They don't believe you, which I always think is just funny.
That's like the most humble thing ever, because like everyone's there screaming it and you're just there like, yeah, that was me. I'm over here.
That was me. Yeah, it's the best feeling ever and especially because when you're somewhere, especially when I'm in different countries and you hear a song that you've written on the radio or in a club, or there was one time there was girls playing it on a phone in a hotel lobby, and I was like, oh my God, I was like, that's one of my songs. Like it's crazy how far the music I've written has traveled, that I almost forget sometimes. And then I'm like, oh my God, like people over here know this song. Like it's mad, but it's amazing.
What's the weirdest place you've heard it or heard someone singing it or anything?
Thailand, Budapest. Like not that they're weird places, they're just places that I
Surprising.
don't, yeah, surprising. They're places that I don't travel much. So to feel like your music has traveled that far in the world is really mad. Or when I get videos of the vow in weddings from South Africa or Australia, or like I'm always just like, well, how has this even happened? So yeah, it's mad to kind of see the music travel so far. Especially being just from Donamead, like just that always is just like mad.
Go on, Donna Mead. And as an artist, then you've had, as you've mentioned there, you had The Vow, which everyone heard on Love Island and at countless weddings. We had Love Again, and one I love is Remember This. That was like a big lockdown two song. It went platinum in my house, anyways.
I love that. It hit in our hearts. I love that. No, I love Remember This. I think that one is one of my faves as well. Yeah.
For sure. And we now have a brand new album, The Moment.
Yes.
We're on album number two. It's mad in a way that you started in the industry so young and you were starting off kind of as an artist and then you went into writing and now all these years later it's like album number two. Whereas you often think of the industry demands, people are on album two like less than 3 years after they started.
Yes. Yeah. I've had a different journey. I think what I've learned about the industry is that everyone has their own journey. And I think that because I was so young when I had a hit, for a pop star, everybody then was coming to me like, will you write for like, so I was writing with Pixie Law, I was writing with Westlife, I was writing with, so I kind of really took that, and went with it. You have to kind of go wherever the big break is. And then I think so I kind of parked my artist career, but I always had glimpses of it, like whether I featured with Professor Green or I did an Avicii song, or like I had glimpses of being an artist. But then actually it really took me going through my 20s and kind of to have stuff to write about. So my first album, Matters of the Heart, came in 2018. And then since then, I met my husband, I've had two kids. And then it was like, I love albums like Carole King Tapestry and Fleetwood Mac Rumors. And I was like, you know what? Like, I've gone through so much now as a woman. I just feel like there's so much more that I have to say as an artist. And finding my listeners and the people who like listening and my audience, and realizing that there's so much left to say to them. And I want to give people more moments to soundtrack their moments to. And that's why I call the song The Moment, because I've realized that a lot of the songs I do as an artist are for people's moments. It's for those times in your life through joy and pain and everything in between, and that we all go through. And I kind of feel like that Carole King artist, there's no one really doing that at the moment, especially from Ireland. And I felt like that is so me in everything that I do. So I was like, it makes sense for me to be that songwriter, that singer-songwriter. That's what Carole King was to me. And she just said it like it is. And the songs were just so beautifully written. And I think that so a lot of the inspiration for the album came from artists like Carole King and Fleetwood Mac.
Definitely. And every song feels like its own kind of little moment, as you say, a little
Yeah.
moment. Sometimes they're just moments that you already know, but others are a moment of realization. And there's just so much soul in these songs when you hear it. Like your
Mm.
heart is so on your sleeve
Yes.
in so many different directions as well.
Yeah, yeah, no, it is. I think what I learned from being a pop songwriter essentially, you're always my job when I go in the room with an artist or writing for an artist is to write the biggest pop song that is going to be the globally universal song, right? That's what the record label want from me. And then so when I was being an artist back in my 20s, I was trying to do that. But I'm not a pop star. I've never been a shiny glamorous pop star. I am the like emotional, complex artist. And so I always was like that was really clashing. And then when I wrote The Vow and Safe Place, and when I started releasing those records and people, they were having such an impact in a way that I never would have thought. it was actually the people that showed me I don't have to write the biggest pop song in the world to have an impact with my music. It can be a ballad. It can be, do you know, I mean, a folk singer-songwriter with some soul. And in that moment, it freed me a little bit as an artist. And I was like, right, I'm going to do exactly what is authentic to me as an artist for this whole record. And so that's why I think there's such a heart in the sleeve thing, because I wasn't thinking, I was just doing. And so that's why the album turned out the way it did, because it's very honest and it's very heart on the sleeve. It's all the emotions and it's all the different moments that I've gone through.
It really, really is. And that's like, there's the happier ones that you hear almost at the start, and then there's some really tough ones to listen to. Like The Way I'm Wired really struck me, you know, because there's a lot of resilience to be found in the songs, and you really power through in these.
Yeah, I think that for me, there's not a world where I would ever pretend that my life or my stories are just all happy. And because for me, it's like the human experience and the human condition, and what I go through in the record is those years of motherhood and womanhood. And I went through chronic illness, and I felt like The Way I'm Wired was one that I always was a bit like, oh, I don't know, is it too vulnerable? Is it too exposing? But then when I released it, I realized how many other people are dealing with that in their lives, mentally and physically. And so where we're at in the world, and I thought I have to also be honest and transparent about where, you know, what I've been through, where I'm at. And it's not all just love and, you know, sunshine. There is really difficult moments in everybody's life. And sometimes when the record's called The Moment, we need the moments of solitude and crying to a song. We need the moments in our bedrooms alone, and then the moments where we're out in the world and we're celebrating. And so I really wanted the album to have a thread of hope and resilience and strength and joy and grief and all the things that as we get older in life we experience, because that is what we all go through. All the stuff on this record everybody has been through in some way or some capacity, I think.
Yeah, it's very all-encompassing as a body of work with all those emotions. Another one I really liked, because we've already touched on this, is Queen of LA, because at the end of the day, it comes back to you screaming that you're from Ireland.
Yes, yes.
No matter what the American music industry says.
Yeah, I've shot the video in Ireland as well. That one was a really important one for the album, because there's not a lot of times that I speak about, like, it felt very autobiographical in a way of like my journey, especially with now the book. I actually feel like that song came from me writing the book, because obviously when I was writing the book, I was writing a lot about me going to LA as a young Irish girl, where I'm from, and then ultimately me leaving LA and coming back. And I think that that song really, like, to me, like ties the record up as well as just having that bit of, you know, story in it. And also, you know, what women go through, what I've been through in the industry as a woman in music, what women go through in general. And so I felt like it was just an important one to have on the album. I'm really glad you like that one.
Yeah, and it really ties in nicely with the book, which I am so excited for. I'm very happy to have had a cheeky preview read, and I can't wait to finish it off as we go through the guides that you've given from all of your years in the industry. I was really excited when you announced it, but then not only that I saw you were writing so many different tips and advice, but that you've collaborated with all these other songwriters. Like, I was sold when I saw Amy Allen and Emily Warren were involved.
Yeah.
So I was like, all of them in the one book?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I knew that doing the book, it's not an autobiography. That was the main thing. Is I think when you say you're writing a book, people think, oh, it's about you and your career. And I'm like, no, that's when I'm like 80, I'll do the memoir, you know, the memoir. This was really more, I get so many people coming to me asking me, how do I do this? How do I get into this? How did you do this? And I thought, well, here you go. Here's the Bible of songwriting. And I think there's a lot of books out there about how to write a song, but there's not a lot of books about how to actually navigate the music industry from someone who's actually has the bird's eye experience of navigating it every day for the past 20 years. And also, I knew when I was writing it, there's no way that this can just be my perspective. I'm going to interview like friends and colleagues that I've written with, and all the people that I interviewed, I've worked with and know personally, and they've all had huge successful careers. And I learned so much through working with them that I wanted to interview them to pass on their insights and their perspective So I think one thing about the book that I'm really proud of is that it's not just my perspective. It's all the most successful people in the industry today. It's all their perspectives and their wisdom. And so I really think that it's a music education workbook that you can work through. There's case studies, there's a playlist that you can listen to while I'm talking about the song. So you really can dig in. And it's the type of book that, because as creatives, we're a bit, we're not the easiest to get to focus. So you can literally dig into whatever chapter that day you want to know about. You don't have to read it from start to finish. It's one of them books that you can just keep referring back to. And if you're feeling down one day about the industry, go to the inspirational quotes chapter, or go to the best piece of advice that those writers ever got, or read some song stories about how some of the biggest songs were written. Like Dan Wilson tells his story about Someone Like You that he wrote with Adele, or Emily Warren tells a story about New Rules with Dua Lipa. So like you can really dig in, and yeah, I'm really excited for it to, for people to have it and get to hopefully learn a lot from it.
Yeah, it really covers everything, not just writing the song, but getting yourself back when you have a bit of a block, what a producer is, management,
Yes. Yeah.
contracts, royalties. Because even as someone who lives for this shit, pardon my language, I struggle to say it in plain language at times. So I don't even know how you guys deal with all of this. How the
Right.
money flows, everything like that. Whoo, that's another story.
And
But
that's the thing. It's like there's a lot of creatives that I've worked with for years, and I say to them, are you registered for this? Do you know the revenue? Do you know the avenues where the revenues come in? And the education is so missing in that regard of like, and who wants to have to get a very like, chunky, undigestible legal jargon document to read through? This is like digestible, the most important things to know, what to be registered for, where the money comes from, what royalties are. Because sometimes we just, in the industry as creatives, we want to stay in a creative bubble. But these days in 2025, you've got to empower yourself with the knowledge, because otherwise you're just going to be taken advantage of. And I see way too many creatives who signed bad deals, didn't know what they were signing, saw a check, took the check, and didn't know that they weren't going to see another check for years. So it's really important. Those chapters are very important as well. They're like not as fun as some of the more creative chapters, but they're really easy to digest, hopefully. Because I always, whenever I would get a contract, I would say to my lawyer, dumb it down for me, give it to me in bottom line digestible chunks. So I'm hoping that it'll be digestible for people and for people to understand, and empower yourself with the knowledge, because that way no one will take advantage of you. You'll sign great deals and you won't make some of the mistakes that I made. Like I want people to be even more successful than I've been.
for sure. What did you make of the new UK rule from the major labels for songwriters getting a £75 per DM in writing sessions? Because I know lots of writers have been calling for this for years, and Ray has been using like the Brit Awards and the Ivor Novello Awards to call for this. And it seems like obviously it could be better, but there's finally something set in stone.
Yeah, I think it's sign of change and the right foot forward. I think like I'm in a group called the Music Creators Collective, where we called for this and have been, we did an open letter last year, asking for per diems. I think that it's one small step in a chain of steps that we need to take to make this industry fairer for songwriters and producers. I think that with AI coming in, I talk about the future of AI in the book and everything. There's lots of protections and lots of ways that we're going to need to show the value of songwriters and value our songwriters. So I'm hoping that this is one good step in a list of more, because £75, £50 a day is just scratching the surface of how we need to value our songwriters and our creatives. I always say, and I talk about it in the book, songwriters are the foundation upon which the entire music industry is built. Without the song, there is nothing to promote. There's no marketing team, there's no photographer, there's no makeup artist, there's no artwork, there's nothing to promote. So for me, it's like songwriters need to be valued, way more than we are. We're at the bottom. We need to be, really respecting and valuing our songwriters.
Definitely couldn't have said it better myself at all. So yeah, the book, it's not just a song, and the album, The Moment. You also have two gigs coming up. The Sugar Club in Dublin, 15th of October, 194
Yes.
in London, 23rd of October. Go get your tickets for
Yes.
that. Go get your book,
Yeah.
go get your CD or your vinyl. It's going to be a RuthAnne autumn. Thank you so much for coming on to Léim Thart to tell me about all this.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, support your local artists because, guys, I'm telling you right now, the market is not, it's tough. You've even got Cardi B out there in her boot with her vinyls. If Cardi B is having to do the busking with the vinyls, imagine what it's like for little old artists like me. So honestly, if any of my music has ever touched your heart, please get a physical copy. The CDs, the vinyls are all going to be available from October 10th, or you can download it. We love a download and a stream. And then, yeah, come see the shows. It's going to be two very special album launch shows where I'm going to be singing my other records that I've had out in the past, my other albums, and the new songs. And there'll be surprises. It's going to be a really good night. And yeah, the book, get the book.
You have it all going on.
I have it all on.
That's great. Thank you so much for talking to me all
Thank
about this on
you.
Léim Thart, RuthAnne.
Yes, thank you so much. And yeah, I hopefully will meet you in person sometime soon.